Hey, it's your bird Pidge, and today I'm going to talk about the 5 main mistakes that new producers make.
Pidge on the beat,
Being a new producer is never easy. Not only are there hundreds of thousands of producers out there to compete with, but new producers also face so many issues like parents not allowing you to produce because they don't think it's gonna make money. Okay. Seeing 5-year-old prodigies on Instagram making better beats than you do.
Kids these days.
And then there's the fact that you feel pressure to spend thousands of dollars on gear to produce with.
I'm so poor.
So with all that in mind, I thought that I'd at least try to help you new producers out there not make these 5 main mistakes. I made these mistakes, tons of great producers have probably made these mistakes, and I see so many new producers making these mistakes. This is a really important video for you guys to watch because honestly, it's gonna save you so much time and effort doing the wrong things. So let's get into it. So maybe you're a really new producer and you've only made 5-10 beats, or maybe you have a catalog of like 100 beats and you're confused why you're not working with anybody yet. Well, mistake number 1 is a mistake that will literally keep you in the same spot forever, and it's waiting for people to come to you. Hey, listen, I get it. Your beats are probably fire, you know that artists are gonna love your beats, and yet no artist has ever heard of you. Waiting for others to come to you is a mistake that I see tons of producers making. You probably know that Instagram account that has tons of stock photos with beats over them, most likely with a caption like, "Hit me up if you want to buy this beat." This tactic is never going to get you anywhere because it is so unpersonal. I've never met an artist who's knocked into a beat on Instagram and loved it so much that they messaged that person to buy it. And in this case, how is anybody going to even find your Instagram, TikTok, SoundCloud if you're not actually doing the work to find the people who would like your beats? I know this is only one example and it's all about social media, but honestly, as a new producer, you have to do all the work. Not only do you have to make fire beats, but you actually have to find the artists who you think will like your beats and reach out to them. You have to push your ego to the side and realize people don't know you yet, and they could know you, but you have to make that happen. So I can't stress this enough. Never wait for people to come to you at the beginning of your production career. Once you reach out to enough people and actually start working with people, then the word of mouth will spread around and you'll probably have people approach you. But at the beginning, it is so unlikely that anybody's gonna come to you that waiting for that to happen is only gonna keep you there forever. And I have to apologize because this second example is also based around social media. But this mistake is one that you have to avoid. It makes you look unprofessional, desperate, and worst of all, extremely annoying. And that's being a social media spammer. We've all seen those comments on Instagrams that we know are copy and paste comments. And I'll be honest, I at one point thought, maybe I should try that. Maybe these people commenting on all these different photos are actually getting people to work with just based on these comments. And I have to say, I am so lucky that I didn't go there. I'm at a point now where I've worked with several artists and artists are starting to come to me for work. And let me tell you, I have never met an artist who has responded to one of those comments. Plus, you're just disrespecting the person who's posted the photo or video that you're commenting on. These comments are the opposite of being personal. They are so obviously cut and paste, it's just BS. Honestly, when people comment that kind of stuff on my photos, I want to message them and I want to just say, I will never work with you in a million years. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a mean bird, but seriously, don't comment that on my stuff. Lastly, when I see people post that, I just see desperation. All I see is desperation in those comments. It's just so clear that these people commenting are working with so few artists that they don't even know where to go but to comment on random people's stuff. Anyways, I think you get my point. I absolutely hate when people do that, and so do most artists. Don't do it. Now, the third mistake also has to do with not being personal. Most talented artists, even if they're at the very beginning of their career, have had so many people approach them to work with them that they know when somebody is being fake. So mistake number 3 is not being yourself. When an artist works closely with a producer, they don't want to work with your persona, and they definitely don't want you being fake. I think everyone knows the feeling of being around someone who's obviously just putting on a show rather than being themselves, and it's annoying. So the first time you meet an artist, or even the first time you message an artist, whether it's over DM, text, email, anything, be yourself from the beginning. Artists and other producers will respect that you're being real with them, and that will just make them want to work with you more and more. Mistake number 4 is overlooked a lot. If you make this mistake, you're going to find yourself stressed out and you're going to look all around unprofessional. And that's not having enough demos. When I started producing, I honestly remember making 5 beats and thinking that they were the best beats that I would ever make. And I thought that I was ready to contact artists and start working. I was lucky enough to have somebody tell me that that is not the right thing to do. Say you message an artist and get a positive response. They want you to send your beats over. That's a great accomplishment. But now let's say the artist takes a listen to those beats and responds back saying, "Hey, really cool sound, but these aren't exactly right for me. It'd be awesome if you could send some more beats that maybe have a little bit of a slower vibe." Okay, so now you've kind of got yourself in a situation. You have these 5 or 10 beats that maybe are amazing, but that's all you have. Now you're either gonna have to pull off the impossible and be a creative superhero and finish like 5 or 10 more beats within a day, or you're gonna have to leave that artist hanging. Both of these are positions that you don't wanna be in, because even if you speed through beats, they are not going to be your best beats because you're just going to be stressed out. You're not going to be in your creative mind. So just remember, I know that it's super hard to wait to reach out to artists, but you'll be so happy that you did once you have a bigger catalog of beats. Try spreading out what kind of beats you're making. Make a few trap beats, make a few R&B beats. If you can, make some fast and make some slow ones. You just want to have a good variety so that if the artist kind of nudges you in one way, you'll have that beat for them already complete. Now, mistake number 5. This one will just ensure that you're going to get nowhere and kind of look a little bit like you don't know what you're doing. And that's starting too big. Believe me, nobody knows the feeling better than I do, where you make a beat that you think is so sick that Miley Cyrus or Drake could fit on it. You just always have to remember in these moments, this is not your best beat. No matter how much it feels like it at the time, you will always be progressing and making better beats as you go along. So if you're at a spot where you haven't worked with many artists yet, just stick to artists who are in your reach. If you go ahead and start cold calling management teams or record labels, they're not going to be able to take you seriously unless you have some pretty serious stuff out there already. What's most likely going to happen if you actually cold call these people is they're just not going to acknowledge you. And even worse, if they do acknowledge you, then they'll probably ask something like, "What artists are you currently working with? Who have you worked with in the past? How many recordings do you have that are released? How many of those recordings have been released by a record label?" And you don't want to be in a spot where you have to message them back saying, "I actually don't work with many artists right now. I don't have much released. I have a couple things out on my SoundCloud," because that just looks so unprofessional. If you're at that spot where you have a few things on SoundCloud, that's great. But just go with artists who are still in your reach, because the more you work with them, the more stuff you're going to have in your catalog to later show these record labels. But before then, honestly, record labels are just going to think that you're wasting their time. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Please post a comment saying which of these tips you think is the most essential to follow. Secondly, let me know if you think there's something missing within this top 5. What's a mistake that you think is super essential not to make? I want to hear from those watching this video because maybe you have a different experience than I do, and I would love to learn from that. If this video has helped you at all, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit that like for me. Also, check out my last video about how to actually start collaborating, because now that you know these 5 mistakes, you'll be that much more ready to start collaborating, or if you're already collaborating with people, you'll be able to build the community that you're collaborating with. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next one. With that, I am out.